What's up, everybody? I'll be doing another Street Beefs edition live with Zodd MMA. As always, if you guys like what I'm doing, you can follow this page.
Hello.
Zodd, what's up?
What's up, Todd? Good to be on your show, man. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
doing
it's good
a
to
lot of
talk.
great stuff.
It's good to talk to you now. For anyone who's kind of checking this stuff out, if they maybe haven't seen you before, could you kind of introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I'm Zodd. Well, Matthew Rodriguez, aka Zodd on Street Beefs, and wow, I just failed.
No.
Yeah, I fought a couple times at Street Beefs West Coast. I fought at the very first event with Diesel. You interviewed him.
Right.
I was there. I was there with him, and it was a bunch of us. It was a historic day. I mean, you had the Shinigami knockout. You had that went totally viral. You had Reckless Rico and Reaper fight. That was a classic. And then a bunch of us guys still fighting now. We're at that first event.
Now tell me kind of how you heard about Street Beefs, because I'm kind of interested in this, because it it got on my radar kind of out of nowhere. So I was kind of wondering how you heard about it.
I've been a fan forever, man. They used to put very very sketchy like street people, like normal people, like not non-fighters fight, and that was like very interesting to me. I'd be like, oh man, this crackhead's about to fight this biker dude. Like, this is tight. And then I started seeing them get more organized, and Scarface really started finding talent. Like, if you watch a bunch of people fight, you're gonna be able to tell like the top guys from like, it's like a natural thing. And he started like the fights started feeling more curated, I guess. And that's when I could tell too, like the fandom got bigger and bigger and bigger because he's been getting better at matchmaking and stuff. And so when I signed up, it was just getting hot. Like the competition was like getting like almost high amateur level. Like a bunch of those guys started looking crazy, and yeah. So once I seen that, I was like, okay, I want in. I want some of this. I don't want to watch no more. I want to jump in there. And they hadn't had the Street Beefs West Coast yet. The actual Street Beefs West Coast. They had an event in the West Coast run by Scarface, but the West Coast is ran by two other guys, Alex Bushido and Tiny Tank. And so I signed up for that first event through Facebook, through YouTube, and then they had a link for Facebook, and then I signed up that way, and I just happened to be one of the first ones to join that West Coast one.
Now, were you based in Cali? Is that kind of
No,
like
I have family in Arizona, so that's why it worked out better than Virginia, because it's mainly in Virginia. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to fly out to Virginia, but I'll do it. So I signed up with the intent of like flying to Virginia and getting the plane ticket. But I seen West Coast, I seen California. I was like, me and my family could do that. We could make a trip out to Arizona and then drive out to Cali. And so it
where
just
did you
worked out perfectly.
How far did you drive?
Well, from Yuma to San Bernardino was like maybe 5. That was maybe a 5-6 hour drive.
So you live in Arizona?
No. I have family in Arizona. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm based in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
But I have family in Arizona, in Yuma, and yeah.
The reason I ask is because they don't pay people. It's pretty
Yeah.
amazing that you're willing to travel to do that. Why in your case are you willing to do that?
Man, I just needed the same reason I'm doing this interview is to express myself, like to show who I am, where I came from. You know, just to why I even got into fighting in general is my dad didn't get a chance to box. He wanted to be a boxer, but the gang life kind of drug him in, and he couldn't really do what he wanted. And so yeah, that's why I started fighting, because my dad taught me how to fight, and it made him really proud, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was around MMA from the beginning, like 1993, and I knew a lot of guys, especially in the mid to late '90s, that were traveling pretty far, but usually they were getting maybe a couple $100 at least, or
Yeah.
their hotel was paid, something was paid for. It's not usual that you would see people travel that far when nothing's paid for.
Well, the internet is a crazy thing too now. I think attention, kids my age, my generation, we'd rather have the exposure than the money. Kind of, money brings a lot of problems into like the pureness of fighting. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes street beefs street beefs. Like, it's people want to be here. Like, you. You couldn't kick them out if you wanted to. They'd probably fight you in the parking lot. Like they're trying to express themselves. It's like, how you not gonna let me do this? You know?
Yeah, I mean, how is it, like Diesel was telling me, there's a lot of people who come from all over. And I mean, I'm sure you've talked to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
What you think is motivating them is just the attention, basically, or?
Oh no, and it's like when people talk about money, that's not where fighters hold their value. I think it's the eyeballs now, and so it's you could like kind of negotiate a contract based on like how many views you get. Kind of, I feel like it's getting to that point where like, oh, this fight got millions of views. Look at all these comments. Look at all this engagement I'm getting. Like, how do you not want me in your organization? Like, I'm a big personality. It kind of builds up your character, so to speak, like your history. You're building like a background.
So maybe you could fight in another. The next step would be to fight in another organization. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like some of the guys who really take this serious are looking to go amateur or already went amateur, like and pro. We've gotten a handful of pro fighters from Street Beefs now, and yeah, it's a different route than because I found it kind of awkward too. Because before I even did Street Beefs, I was looking for a Muay Thai, like a organized sanctioned Muay Thai thing, and you had to have a lot of qualifications and papers, and you had to know a manager. And I was like, man, that's a lot of BS. I just want to sign up and go. And so that also too, just the pure convenience of it, like sign up, we'll have you ready, and you're good to go. Instead of like the sanctioned way is a lot of politics, and people don't really want to deal with all that stuff.
Do they have people like on site in case someone gets messed up pretty good, or how does that work?
We sign waivers, and usually there's like coaches there, like very experienced coaches. Every time I've been to the West Coast events, there's been Master Roshi, Coach Alfredo, and he's been in the game for a long, long time. He's trained under a lot of like Vegas guys. Like he's been training for a while and trained a lot of good guys. I've seen him. Yeah, he's interacted with like UFC fighters and high level coaches. This one this one guy, what's his name? DC Cobra, DC Black Cobra.
Hmm.
Yeah, he trained under him, and I started like he tagged him, and I started looking him up, and yeah, this guy is like legit. He
Oh, Dewey
trains.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he trained under him, and then I started like looking at him, and I was like, wow, like okay,
Right.
this guy's connected. Like this is real. Like Street Beast is it's not a it's not
Hmm.
a facade. There's a lot of experienced people there too. Not just it's a place for unexperienced people to get some experience, and there's people with like who know how to run it, like who's been there before. So it it hasn't got that dangerous from what I've seen. Like maybe one guy passed out from heat exhaustion, and they got him water and got him air, and I think he ended up fighting again like in a couple months. So I said people it's like a community based thing where like we're not out there to hurt each other too. We're we're here trying to like express ourselves, and like hurting each other is just like a byproduct, I guess. You know.
Yeah, I saw a guy. I was looking at the West Coast page, and I saw a guy. He had a fight. I think he had a fight in MMA recently, after fighting in street beefs maybe once or twice. I
Yeah.
forgot his name, but so there is a progression.
Yeah, you get a lot of eyes, and it's very performance based too. Like if you're not that good, well, you're not gonna get that many views. It's just odds are if you're not finishing, if you don't have a short video, people aren't gonna click on them. And so like that's one of the things too in street beefs. It's like you see that 2 minute video, you know it's gonna be fun. You know it's really performance like based. I feel.
Do the promoters like encourage you to finish the matches quickly or no?
No, it's more of a they like giving draws a lot. If two guys make it out and like you kind of tell one guy didn't make it, but he made it out of the 3 rounds, you know, like oh man, we'll call it a draw, you know, because we're not here to make anyone feel bad. We obviously know who won, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you know it's a fight club and not like a fight promotion. We're a family, you know. We care about each other. We're not gonna diss you if it's not necessary, you know. If you lost, you lost. Well, so well. But if you get rewarded for making it out, kind of, you know.
Tell me that first one you went to, the very first one ever. Like, where was it?
It was in San Bernardino in the summer, super hot, and I get to the event kind of early, and they're just setting up the bells, and I see like lines of like soldiers, like worker ants with bells, and just like, oh shit, this is about to go down, bro. And they're building the ring, and I'm wrapping up.
Is that in somebody's house?
Yeah, it's in Red Reaper's backyard,
Okay.
and Troy Sanders, he's amateur. He's a very like high level like intellect. Like I love the way he fights. He's very smart and scrappy. And he was actually the first fight there because you know it's his backyard, so he kind of opened it up for everybody. And he fought Reckless Rico, who's I think pro. I think he's pro now. Reckless Rico's a pro fighter for he trains under Duke Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this was before his Duke Rufus era, but he fought Reckless Rico, and it was just like the sun was beaming. I had just wrapped up. I was like listening to my music, trying to get hype, and then I turn around and it was empty because you know I had arrived when they were setting up. And so by the time I wrapped up and like got to like really focus up and like check everything out, the whole backyard was filled with people, and I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. This is about to go down. And then you know, they started telling the fighters to line up, sign the waivers, and weigh in. And so once you weigh in, that's when you get match made. It's as fair as possible.
So it's kind of on site that they do all the matchmaking?
Yeah, it's unless it's like a beef fight, which is the main reason street beefs exist is to settle guns down, gloves up is the main message about street beefs, and that's like that hits home too. The guns down, gloves up, man. That from my friends to my own father to everybody, like you know, there's so many avoidable situations and unavoidable situations that we wish we could have handled with hands instead of guns. You know, it's sad that it has to come to violence sometimes, but it is what it is. You know, you gotta.
Now, when they have that, though, these kind of like settle score fights, do they have security there? Make sure guys aren't bringing in weapons and stuff like that? I mean,
well, I mean, it's like you said, it's a bunch of people getting not paid to fight, so you know, it's a rough crowd. So, yeah, I guarantee
I might be worried, like that someone might, if you have like a lot of scores to settle, you know, like street score.
Yeah. No,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't get too crazy, but yeah, like it's like a family environment, man. Like some of the older guys there, like they handle themselves like men. So you know, if like some shit goes down, you know, at the first event that we're going kind of crazy, because the home guy lost, or they called it a draw, and there was a guy going pretty nuts. And he was telling one of the organizers, like, man, you're a pussy, shut the fuck up. And he was talking loud, but he knew not to do anything. Like, we just knew, like, let him try something. All of us are here. Let him talk. You know, don't let him express himself. But he knew if he would have done anything to him, there would have been 50 guys on him, pulling him off in an instant or kicking him. You know, like it's an environment full of like fighters. So people have more respect, I guess, because he was cursing at him because he was mad, but he knew not to engage in anything.
Now, are there any like stars of Street Beefs, or is it more just people fighting? And
Right now, uh, the newest guy is Fair Play, and he's going pro soon. He's very strong. He's a strong dude and very in shape, very athletic, and he's one of the names that when people see, you could tell in the comments. If you just read some comments, like you can see like some people do get a little extra love, and Fair Play is a guy who gets extra love, and he's one of their stars. My one of my classmates just fought him. He was an amateur boxer. He fought 80 times in the amateurs, and he saw me on Street Beefs and was like, "I want to do that." I was like, "Bro, you fought amateur. Like, why would you want to do Street Beefs?" It was like, because he's not in that boxing world no more. He didn't go pro, so this is his chance to still like compete with like a high level opponents. And it was a good fight. Fair Play versus JJ, and my friend Jose JJ. He put on a show. That was a crazy fight. I really liked that fight. It just released maybe a couple weeks ago. And Fair Play is one of the guys. Memnon. Memnon is one of the guys I look up to. He's younger than me, but he's a workhorse, man. Like I see Memnon, what he did in Street Beefs and what he's doing now, and he was like one of my main inspirations for sure, man. Memnon Warrior. He has a couple viral knockouts. He has that scissor kick. I don't know if you ever seen it.
oh, well, I had seen one where the guy was wearing like a kung fu outfit.
Oh, that's Shinigami. Yeah. That's
Shinigami.
Shinigami. Yeah, he. That was actually supposed to be my name, and he was right in front of me, and he said Shinigami, and I was like, man. So I just went with Zodd. But yeah, he's like one of the big guys too. He went the most viral because of that first event. That head kick was just so sick, perfectly timed.
I think it was because of his outfit that he went viral. That's like people in
Yeah,
the MMA world were like, look at this. Like
yeah.
I saw people putting the video up on all these different MMA forums, and they're like, check this guy out. But that's the kind of guys that we used to laugh about. But he showed that he had technique, though. I think when the fight started, they were like, I think when people were looking at him, they probably thought he wasn't serious. But when the fight started, he showed that he had technique.
Yeah, you could tell that it wasn't a powerful kick, but you could tell he's used to point sparring,
Yeah.
and that was just perfectly timed technique, as you said. It wasn't too powerful. It Yeah, it is kind of funny seeing like a white boy in a gi like knock somebody out. So
And a
that's a
kung
good
fu
show.
gi. It wasn't even like it was like an old school kung fu style gi. So
Yeah,
when I first saw him, I was like, this guy's probably not serious. But the technique he did correctly, and it was pretty fast. Um, so I was like, oh, okay. I think that's what everyone came away with. Like, yeah, that guy has some ability. At least he's serious about his techniques.
yeah. So Shinigami is the most viral, and another big star. He fought the guy who runs Dirty South, that where you grab the picture from.
Hmm.
That was the first event in Texas. And the guy who runs the Texas Street Beefs fought Shinigami, and he just outboxed him. Cody Beck, nasty native. He's he. I would put respect on his name and throw him up there as one of Street Beef's best fighters. He's super big and crisp boxing. Just super clean. And big guy, knows how to wrestle. Yeah, he's one of the guys who brings it all: ground game and striking. Cody Beck, nasty native. Put some respect on his name, Street Beefs. He's Cody Beck is up there. He's a beast. And
What about? I see a lot of Diesel fights. That's one of the reasons I had him on because I saw him a lot.
yeah, Diesel's a monster too. Um, I watch his fights, but something in person, seeing him in person is totally different, man. Uh, I, the first fight was like, okay, he's a tough guy. Like he's gonna go in there and he's gonna swing. He's gonna swing at you. And so in the first event, he did impress me. He was very impressive. He was very strong. But that second event, his mentality, I guess, he just got used to this. Like, I guess the experience from Street Beefs helped him out a lot. So by the time I went the second time, Diesel's mindset was just crazy. I was thinking to myself, this is how people must have felt watching Tyson. Like, this guy's he's in there trying to kill you, bro. Like, what are you gonna do, man? And yeah, Diesel for sure. He's a fun one to watch every time. But yeah, different.
Tell me about your first fight in it. Kind of tell me, like, because you told me about being there and what that was like. Now
Yeah,
tell me about who you fought and kind of what you're looking back on it. You don't
yeah.
have to
Look at
take me through the fight, but maybe looking back on it, kind of what the experience, maybe what you gained from it.
yeah. I had been only really sparring at my local gym, 4 Ounce Fight Club, in Houston, Texas.
I know where it is.
Yeah, that's my favorite place in the world, man. I had barely started going there for about I had did the free trial class. So
Donya
I went.
Cruz trains there, right?
Who?
Donya Cruz, the girl that was
Oh
on my
yeah,
show. Yeah,
yeah. You interviewed Diesel and her back to back, which is
yeah.
how you caught my attention. It was pretty crazy because I see those people like in real life. I was like,
hmm
wow. Yeah, yeah. I was just at 4 Ounce for like maybe a week or two, and then I sparred a couple times as well. So I was maybe in total like 2 months of like preparation, and I went in there with like a lot of confidence from like actual street fights, and Houston is not the nicest place, so I had to fight older people, and sometimes we'd get in like rumbles and stuff. But um, yeah, so I came in there very confident, like not scared of getting hit or anything, like knowing okay, I'm about to get into a fight, like this is serious. And I see my opponent, and he looks just as experienced as me. You can tell he's kind of timid and like shelling up and tight. He's kind of not loose. He's very tight, and he's like anxious and waiting for something to happen. So I felt like we were evenly matched, but he was just a lot more. His grappling was a lot higher. Me, I come from like my dad is a boxer, and I grew up doing karate. So when I say MMA, it's not in the traditional sense because that's not where I come from. I come from striking background, so I don't mix grappling with striking. I mix striking with striking. I'm a boxer slash karate stylist. That's that's the best way to explain the style I'm really going for. And yeah, so I came in there with that mindset of that game plan. Okay, I'm gonna use my karate kicks and use my jabs and use my check hooks. That was like my thought, and I completely ignored the ground game. Because he's like, oh, I'm strong. He's not gonna take me down, and I ended up just getting. He basically laid on me and won. I let him lay on me and he won.
hmm
And the shots he was giving me weren't bad. They didn't hurt. I've been hit way harder than that in sparring, but I wasn't defending myself and I was tired and I didn't know how to get out. So they're like, yeah, stop this. And I was kind of disappointed because I should have been more prepared, but I was also very grateful for the opportunity to go out there and like hear the crowd and oh my god, every time I landed a punch, hearing those O's it was just so satisfying, and it really drove me to do the next one too. Just the sense of like engagement you get with the people you don't even know. Like I didn't know who was cheering for me. I just heard the cheers. It was a very nice experience.
And then you had a second fight, right?
Yeah, and then my second fight was very stiff competition. Um, it's not under Zodd, it's under El Feo. I had changed my name because my uncle had passed away. And that's what him and his brothers, or my other uncles would call me, Mateo el más feo. So that just means Matthew the most ugly.
Hmm.
And Yes, I changed my name to Alfeo because it's a very endearing name to me, and I was really missing him, and I was really hurting a lot, and so I changed my name for that one fight to kind of honor him, and you know, let my family know I'm doing this for them. This is like everyone thinks fighting is selfish, but it's really like the only thing that gives me happiness. So like, it's very necessary as well. Like, it's not a I don't view it as a selfish thing. I view it as like I'm trying to help my family get a better life, and this is just the best way I know how to go about it. This is like the route I want to take.
Now, the second fight, what was your experience from that?
So the second fight was even deeper in California in the mountains on a weed farm. It was crazy. There was a cage. We were on a weed farm. There was a cage. There was pigs going around, and getting to the event, we had to go up mountains and mountains, and
Where in
and
California was it?
oh, Ohio,
Hmm.
Ohio.
Remember, there's a series on Netflix, Murder Mountain, but I don't know where it was. I'd have to look. I was wondering if that might have been the place because it was on a mountain. It was a fairly prominent weed area in
Yeah,
California where a
no,
lot of,
it might
huh?
be. No,
There,
I think you're onto something.
there have been a series of homicides on that mountain, with the drug crowd. And
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's where it was,
No, I've never seen that show, but yeah, this sounds like the area of California where it gets crazy. But yeah, it was a crazy thing enough. Getting to the event, I took off my contacts because I don't fight with contacts on, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get used to not having this vision. Let me warm up. I have my headphones on, and I'm hyping myself up. I'm like screaming the lyrics to the song, and like another car pulls up, and I'm like, I'm gonna get louder, just because I'm trying to intimidate everybody. And I'm screaming loud, and I see all these guys get out the car, and I'm like, me mugging all of them, not knowing who they are because I can't see. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for this event. Like I'm kind of scoping out the competition, like okay, like this is fight day. Like all right, like let's see who's ready. And Bobby Green happened to be in that crowd of people that were walking out. I didn't know till after because everyone took pictures with him. Until after that, he was even there, and I was like, "What? I'm an idiot." Because he was wearing the same thing the guys I was looking at, so I could tell it was Bobby Green, but I couldn't see his face because I didn't have my contacts. And looking back on that, I wish I would have kept my contacts on and said hi to Bobby Green. He's one of my favorite fighters. And so that's like just getting out the car. Like I ran into Bobby Green without even, like my head's so in the game, like I'm not even paying attention. And right before, right, I'm actually doing I'm actually, so I get in there, I weigh in, and they ask me to judge. They asked me to judge a couple fights. And so I'm judging, and then my fight comes up, and I find out I'm fighting WA, Wade Adams. Crazy, crazy, crazy guy. He's a bit older. He was like 50 when I fought him. I'm like half his age. So and this guy's been training since the 90s. And I'm very confident I could take him. Like I know my skill set with my kicks, I can hang in there with him. My punches, I can hang in there. It was really my wrestling again that failed me. Like his timing for his wrestling was really good. He was a very tricky opponent, and my God, he put a whooping on me, like a beating, like a mean, like he was doing all these hand traps, and so
hmm
I'd be helpless, and he'd have one arm free, and he'd just be beating me. I'm like,
hmm
how's he getting me on these hand traps? Like, this is stuff I do to my little cousin. Like, how's he doing this to me? Like,
hmm
and
That's
I bet,
common like, on jujitsu. Like you can reach under the back and grab the far hand, you
yeah,
know. So like you come around the back, like the guy on top of you come around the back and grab the far hand. So now
yeah.
you have
That's
his hand is trapped, so he can hit from this side or other way too. Yeah.
That's what happened standing up. We
Hmm.
were we were standing up and he did that, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this guy's
Like
really
a cage or something, you can do it there.
yeah. So we were
In the middle, it's not something that's so easy to do because
yeah.
there's more room to move. But if you have on the ground or against the cage, that's where you can do it
Yeah,
pretty effective.
we were kind of against the cage, and he grabbed the handcuff. He handcuffed me, and um,
That's another word for it. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's more of a, you can do it up here too, around the head. Like if you're in the mount position,
yeah,
you kind of pin both hands. If your grip is big enough, you can kind of pin one and then the other. And then you can just, the
yeah.
guy can't, yeah.
I had big picture game plan down the pack. I felt like my distance was really good. My timing was scaring him. My power, I get. He told me at the end, like, bro, you punch hard. Like, I had to take you down. Like, I wasn't gonna let you keep hitting me in the face, bro. And I was like, I respect that. Like, I understand. And that I had a broad strokes game plan, but I wasn't nuanced enough in grappling still. And that's been my main focus ever since. Ever since that second fight, I've been training at home, my striking, and when I go to 4 ounce, I do want to go on jiu-jitsu day. I do want to go on wrestling day. The hard stuff, the stuff that when you go home and you're sore and you're crying, like those jiu-jitsu classes, those wrestling classes are really tough at 4 ounce. I really love it. Um, striking, I could kind of get into my own zone, and you know, I kind of I grew up with striking, karate and MMA, so I kind of know how to train that. I know how to drill. I know what drills to do. I know if I shadow box, I know if my punches aren't straight, if I'm flaring out my elbow too much, if I look hard enough and pay attention, I know what I'm doing wrong. I can correct myself. But grappling is a whole different new thing to me, and that's what's kind of keeping me interested in MMA is showing how much better I can get at grappling. Because everyone knows I'm not scared to punch. I'm not scared to get kicked. Uh, it's so crazy. Yesterday, I went sparring, and one of the pro guys told me he didn't want to spar me because he knows I get intense. And I was like, bro, what? Like, I'm scared of you. Like, don't be scared of me. And it was very humbling. And shout out to Hector. I love Hector. He's one of my favorite guys to train with at 4 ounce. He's always motivational. And between street beefs and 4 ounce, man, I'm so supported. Like, man, these some of the best people in my life who have no reason to be my friend are my friends. Like I'm so appreciative of both those kind of like organizations and families. Like I have so much support from from both. I feel like and of course my own family, my own actual family, and yeah, I've just been trying to find balance between working and fighting now. That's also a big thing.
On Street Beast, they have boxing and MMA. Why did you do MMA matches?
Uh, MMA. I don't know why.
You
I
were doing
love kicking.
mixed matches. Yeah. Why were you
Yeah,
doing rules? Because it
I,
sounds like you came more from a striking background. Why did you not just do boxing at first?
I I love kicking. So I was like, we could do Muay Thai, but then
Okay.
I do like wrestling. I've wrestled before, with friends and stuff. But it's MMA is totally different. Like these guys are trained killers. I was just thinking in my head, like I can't do this. Like I see it. I see myself dirty. But I do like dirty boxing, the art of dirty boxing too. You
Hmm.
can't really do that anywhere else where you could just grab a guy and just hold him. You can't do that at boxing. So that style of fighting really did attract me to the karate from the outside, and then the dirty box. Less Muay Thai and more dirty box when clinched up. I love those dirty boxing techniques. The shoulders, the nasty little elbows, the break offs, and I man, dirty boxing. Dirty boxing is probably the reason I started getting into grappling because I was like, okay, grappling, striking's fun, but now I get to hold a guy and beat his ass, and that's why I really love the clinch work. Old school boxers, that's a main thing because used to be able to do that actually. They Roberto Duran,
Yeah.
he couldn't. He would have the ref on him all day. He couldn't be able to fight the way he fights. Um,
Well, there's guys who did it. One I would think of off the top of my head who was pretty good at it was Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins could.
yeah,
He knew when to hold and hit. He knew when to punch a guy low. He would do
yeah,
that like the ref. The ref would be behind him, and he would hit the low blow. He did that on purpose a lot. So if you watch Bernard Hopkins, if you want to watch someone who can get away with it in a boxing match, Hopkins did it a lot. He knew how to hold and hit, and he knew to hit on the break, and he knew to punch somebody in the nuts when the ref could see him do it. I've seen him just drop guys, and the ref kind of looked like he didn't know what happened
damn,
because he's blocking his view. He kind of just do it really
yeah,
quickly, bam, like kind of
yeah.
like from not a hard shot, just
A
how
glance.
hard.
That's all it takes. Yeah, a
Yeah,
glance is all it takes, bro.
yeah. So he just kind of sneak it in
Oh,
real quick. Yeah, Bernard
yeah,
Hopkins is a guy you could watch do that, and he fought dirty. He knew how to fight dirty and not get caught. He was really good at it. Probably the best guy of our generation at doing that kind of tactics without getting caught. There's other guys who would just do it right out in the open, but he would do it and not get caught.
yeah. That's slick. I'm gonna do some more research on B Hop. I really do like. I was more of a Roy Jones fan growing up. Like my family, we would put on those fights. I don't know why we didn't put on like Bernard Hopkins. We would watch a lot of Manny Pacquiao, a lot of Roy Jones Jr. growing up. We would watch Floyd Mayweather to lose, and I I started thinking differently from my family. I was like, why are we watching this? Why are we watching this guy to lose? Like, I want him to win. Like, he's winning all his fights. Like, and like I say right around when he fought De La Hoya is when like I changed and everyone just looked at me like, you're going against a Mexican. I was like, I relate more to Mayweather than De La Hoya, to be honest.
Yeah, Felix Trinidad was another one. But he didn't do it not to get caught. He would just do it blatantly. Do it. But like Fernando Vargas rocked him pretty good in a fight, and Felix Trinidad just punched him right in the balls. Because he was wobbled, so he needed some time to recover. So he just punched him right in the nuts,
Oh,
dropped him.
that's pretty smart.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of, yeah. Need a break.
So he did stuff like that just blatantly. Because he knew you're not going to get disqualified the first time. So why not just do it? If you need to recover, you can get time to recover.
It's like a timeout.
Yeah,
That's pretty smart.
exactly. Now, what do you think you're going to do next for like street beefs?
I'm doing another MMA fight. I'm very, I'm very motivated to show my grappling. Like I am a striker by heart, but I want to show more of my grappling. And I should be. I was gonna fight this month, but I think the event was canceled for Texas, so I'm looking to go to Seattle in the summer. And I'm having people around me, like because of 4 ounce, because of where I train. There's more people like around me now that know me, like that know I do street beefs, and now I'm getting talks about sponsors.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh hey, we seen your fights, dude. You're so sick. We want to go with you. We got a guy to sponsor the trip. So this next street beefs, I'm gonna basically be I'm gonna have the trip sponsored. Hopefully, if everything goes well and my friend comes through, I should be able to go there without any cost out of pocket. And that just looks like a huge relief. Like it's traveling is very difficult if if you got to worry about other like fighting. traveling is just a hassle, man. And so the less you got to worry about, I feel like helps the fighters out a lot. It's the things we go through too, like that make us want to do street beefs. Like yeah, like you said, we come out of pocket for that, man. Like we want to do this. Like no one's giving us an opportunity, so we're taking one. We're gonna have to take one. If we're not given one, we'll just take any. We'll take not anything, but we'll take this. We'll go here. I don't need to
Are
get paid.
4 ounce going with you?
Um, I'm kind of I have imposter syndrome really bad, so I don't get embarrassed training, but I do get embarrassed like asking people if they want to corner me and stuff, which I shouldn't be because I'm pretty sure all those guys now they've seen me around, they see me training, and they know I take this serious, and I shouldn't be embarrassed, but I do get kind of shy around people. I'm trying to get out of my shell doing this interview and stuff because I love alone time. Like, yeah, I like being by myself a lot. And
But I mean, like, if it were an MMA event in Houston or something, they probably would corner you, I would think.
yeah, no, they would. It's just I wouldn't. I don't know how to call it imposter syndrome or just embarrassment or I feel like I would feel like embarrassed because I don't feel lesser than them, but I do feel like these guys they work way harder than me, and maybe they don't have time for me, and I'm scared of rejection as well. Like I see those guys work really hard, and I don't want to waste their time. You know, like what if I go in there and they do all this stuff for me and I lose and I like embarrass them and I get embarrassed. Like uh, I don't let my father come with me for the same reason. Like he really wants to watch me fight. Like he's so proud of me fighting. Like when we talk about fighting, his eyes light up. And the type of violence he's been through, he's he's a very hard man. Like if you get to him, like if you really talk to him, most people are like how would you say? Oh, hard on the outside and soft in the middle. Like maybe there's some softness deep in there, but my dad's a hard guy. Like he doesn't show no weakness or nothing, and I would feel very embarrassed if he seen me get like my ass whooped in front of him and stuff. So that's kind of how I go with it. I go in the ring not by myself. I'm carrying all this training that I do. You know, all the experience I've been through. I carry that. I carry my people with me through that. But I can't have I don't know, just certain people around me. I don't know. I like stepping in the ring by myself. I don't really like being. I should try to get more coachable. But I feel like I'm smart enough to know how to defend myself. Like, if it's really going that bad to where I need somebody's advice, we should just stop it. You know what I mean? Like, if I can't think for myself in there, then there's no point of me being in there. And I really do like just getting in the zone and not just drinking water and breathing and thinking about. I don't need someone to quarter. Like,
Helpful, especially like in grappling, because grappling is so almost like
nuance.
no, it's kind of like chess, right? So if a guy gets you in a certain spot and you don't know how to get out, someone who's there could walk you through it kind of while it's happening, you know? They could
Yeah,
say,
no,
you need to do this, you need to do that, you know, and you could hear them, you could probably get out of that situation. Most likely. Sometimes it's not going to work, especially if the guy's got you like in a deep submission.
yeah.
But positionally, you know, if a guy's got you half guard, side mount, these grappling positions, a good coach can help you in those spots for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, I should be more coachable for sure. Like I do want to be. That's one thing about me. I I am working on and trying to get better. Being more open, like I said, open minded and more sociable. I guess just trying to get out my shell a little bit to be a better person. And but with grappling, I feel like there's a lot of there's a lot more secrets that that
Mm-hmm.
people hold on to, and I feel like I've cracked like most of the secrets. Like I'm pretty smart. I get deep into subjects I love, and I kind of found like a couple cheat codes for grappling, and it's it's always 50-50. Like grappling is nothing's ever guaranteed. If you get a position, you don't know, and you don't know where the other guy's gonna end up. You just know where you're gonna be at. That's one of the main things I've learned is like focus on.
Oh, I lost your sound there for a second.
Yeah, so I've learned is try to get on your knees or try to build on your hip. For if you're on the ground and you can't get up and you're on your back, build on your hip or get on your knees and try to stand up. Those are like the basics. So I started actually having a jiu-jitsu game now. I play a lot of turtle, and I've been getting rear naked choked all day. But I'm learning how to fix that part now because I play turtle so much. I love how I can just get up to my feet. So if I can get to turtle, I feel a lot safer, and I've been getting choked out. So learning, I've also been learning a lot of guillotine defense with my turtle game, and I have a I had one of the pro guys struggling to submit me with the guillotine. Like I made him work for it, man. Like he was not getting this, and then he 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 had to instead of I was fighting his leverage arm, right? Not the arm he was choking me on, but I learned how to fight the leverage arm. It's way more efficient, and so he couldn't leverage on me, and so I didn't let him leverage with his arm. But then he twisted me somehow and leveraged with the ground, and he was using the floor and the ground as leverage, and he choked me out. But I was like, yeah, you had to work for that one, buddy. Like I wasn't gonna give it to you. And it's really been fun learning how to defend rear naked chokes because that's one of the basics, and anyone could get caught up in that. Oh, my headphones went out. Sorry. Hello? No. Sorry, I thought it was my
No, no,
headphones.
no. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say I played a lot of turtle, before. Now, in MMA, it's a little dangerous because you're exposing your back. You can get hit. I don't know if you watched the UFC last night. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
So Peter Yan, when he was trying to limp leg out of the single, he was turning his back.
Yeah.
It works. That technique works, but the problem was he was exposing his back to Sterling.
A
So
jiu-jitsu pro.
yeah, so Sterling could get to his back. There are some other techniques to defend the single leg that wouldn't have exposed his back so much, but that's just probably what he prefers to do. In fact, I'm suspicious that Sterling wasn't even trying to get the takedown. He was kind of hoping that he would expose his back when he defended it,
Yeah.
I think. Because the single leg's difficult to get in MMA, but the reason I bring that up is turtling. It's a little dangerous for MMA because you can get hit from the back. The guy can put you in the body triangle and things like that.
Yeah.
But really, as far as the chokes go, it's the hand that's closest to the mat that's going to choke you. Like if you're on your left side, it's going to be this arm coming this way. If you're on this side, it's going to be this arm coming this way. The one that's closest to the mat is the one that has the leverage. Now, some guys will just sink it and then flip over. So like they're on this side, they're going to get you here, and then they're going to roll you this way so they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a guy you could check out, Eduardo Tellis. That was like his whole game was turtle, yeah. I'll show you some of his videos on YouTube, but that's kind of what he was known for.
That's great.
Yeah, the turtle guard was his whole game, pretty much. Now, he did a lot of it in the gi, but he has some of it without the gi on also. You can modify some of the moves. He has a lot of reversals from the turtle because, he had a hard time. He couldn't wrestle. That wasn't his skill set.
Yeah.
So what he would do is kind of get to the turtle and then he'd use that to reverse his opponents. So he's a guy you could study a lot if you're into like turtle game.
Man, I'm gonna have to study up on that guy.
Yeah,
There hasn't been a lot of people I could watch. Just it's been like bits and pieces here and there of me picking it up. Like, okay, I like getting the turtle. Like, this is my thing.
now, as we're kind of winding down this interview, I always like to let people maybe if you had a message you wanted to send. I know you said fighting was real important to you and the stuff that you're doing, and kind of where people can follow what you're doing as well.
Yeah, so I'm always like maybe twice a week. I'm always on IG Live hitting the heavy bag. It's just it became more of a self journal, and people like watching me hit the bag because I hit the bag hard, and so I could be fun to watch. You could watch me. I'm gonna be on Street Beefs in a couple months, so watch out for Zodd on Street Beefs. For sure, I'm doing something. I don't know what yet. I'm looking for Seattle, hopefully. And yeah, I have a message for everyone just struggling, man. Like, everyone's a fighter. Some people do it when they want to, and other people have to fight when they have to. And everybody's a fighter, man. Just because you're not physically able to fight or mentally able to be free, I guess, or whatever, regardless of your situation, and you're actually more of a fighter than I am. And much respect to the people struggling out in the world, like with mental health and bad home environments, and just you got to keep on fighting, man. Life's a fight.
And where can people follow you as far as like your social media handles and whatnot?
Zodd MMA on Twitter and on Instagram. I don't have Snapchat. And Matthew Rodriguez on Street Beefs on YouTube. I have a video of my Street Beefs highlights in slow motion. That's like the only video. But I'm gonna start posting more workouts and daily vlogs very, very soon. This is just like, I appreciate you very much. This is like my first step to like trying to find my voice and trying to express myself. And so this is just like the first step to a lot of big things I want to do. And I stopped looking at things like priorities and start looking at them like as opportunities. And I'm very grateful for everything.
Yeah, I think it's a good resource. You can use a lot of this stuff. I think when I was younger, I might have cared what people thought I was doing, but now that I'm older, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as big a deal because, I mean,
yeah, you're figured out already. You
how much longer am I going to live at this point? You know, you know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, well, no, it's more like you're already self-aware. You don't need approval from anybody.
I don't think people care because I'm just, like when you're older, no one cares what you're doing. It's more like it. I think young people, they like to hate on other young people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Older people, they don't care about older people so much.
Very true.
But yeah, it was a great talking to you. And like I said, anytime you want to do something or after Street, I was telling Diesel we should do something at Street Beefs.
Yeah, if we could get you to do interviews after the fights, like the winners, that'd be so sick, man.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be I gotta talk to Diesel. Diesel's been a very huge motivator in my life outside of fighting. He's been telling me to get a job and get more consistent with my workouts, and man, Diesel's a great guy.
How close are you to Alvin, Texas?
I'm in Houston. Alvin's probably 3 miles, 4 miles. I mean, 4 hours.
Oh, that's far.
Hours.
Yeah. I have a friend who's in Alvin, so. All right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll have him reach out to you. But, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And like I said, I'm totally down to do some more Street Beef stuff because I like this stuff personally.
Yeah.
I think people in MMA, they don't know much about it. But it doesn't surprise me Bobby Green checked it out because he's kind of a street guy,
Yeah.
But I think you'll start seeing more MMA guys like show up because they like that stuff as much as anybody else. They like the good street fights. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see more of those guys around, if they can find out that it's happened. Like me, I didn't know this stuff existed until maybe a couple of months ago. So I think in
Yeah,
the MMA community, a lot of guys don't know about it. Yeah.
it's an exclusive club, man, and people better get in now than later.
They won't be able to get into the events, huh?
Yeah, because it's like a family oriented thing, and we don't want any we don't like any phonies. We actually Jens Pulver has been to a lot of shows too, and
Mm-hmm.
Jens actually watched my fights, and we could talk about this next time. But man, Jens broke down my fight, and it was like a heart, like I was crying, man, because Jens Pulver, I watched this man like
He
do
broke it
so
down
many
on
things.
Twitch, or?
Yeah, on Twitch. Yep.
Oh, wow. I got to watch it.
Yeah, and I was, man, it was so cool. I mean, I lost, so he was more explaining like what the other guy did right, but
Mm-hmm.
it was so cool just being involved in that. Like Jens Pulver's talking about me, like it's pretty amazing.
So someone must have sent him the videos. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so Wade's like a older guy. He's like 50,
Mm-hmm.
and when they posted it, something about I guess Wade's intro really hit home for a lot of older people because he was like 50 years old and he was like saying, "Man, I'm on my last leg of life, you know, and I'm still out here competing, and you know, thanks for Street Beefs." And it hit home for Jens. Jens Pulver was really touched by my opponent's speech, and yeah, Wade's a really cool guy, and even though he was old, man, I tell you this, old man strength is a thing.
Yeah, it is.
It is a thing because his bones were just dense. He wasn't even swinging hard. He was just boom, 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 and I could just feel it.
In the grappling, too. You know, they. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you know, like I said, he was handcuffing me and everything. That fight right there gave me the most experience ever, and I feel like if I could get in that like mindset almost again, I put on a good performance.
Some guys, if their hands are just big, they have a big advantage. You know, like if my dad, his fingers are really long. You know, like my hands are smaller. But some guys, if their hands are just big and they can grip you all the way around, it's a, and if their grip is strong, they just have an advantage just because of that. You know. But there's some things you can do to get out of those. It's just you have to learn them, but it's something you can do for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to do this, and like I said, I'm going to send you some stuff about Turtle here in a moment. Yeah, I think you might find it interesting.
Yeah, I love studying. That's been a big help too, just watching film. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure you should. If you can't get in the gym a lot, you should. You know, there's so much resource now. Like when we were coming up, when guys were coming up in the '90s, like if you talk to any of those guys, they had to watch VHS tapes.
DVDs and VHS.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not DVDs didn't exist. They had to watch VHS tapes, and we would trade them with each other. We'd reach out through the mail, you know, like on the internet, you know, like old style forums, you know, like maybe like Reddit sort of, but it was an MMA style forum. The underground is what we called it, and guys would reach out to each other through there, and then we'd say, okay, my address is this. Can you send me this one? Because we made copies of them.
Yeah.
Send them to each other. So there were a lot of guys learning that way. And if you can't train all the time, it's a good even now, I would say people that train all the time, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube now and on DVDs now that is so far advanced that can take a guy's game to really good in a much shorter period of time.
Knowledge is power for sure.
Yeah. Because I think in the old school, even though those VHS tapes were out there, the mentality was, oh, if you have a gym, you shouldn't be looking at other people's stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, our stuff works. Why do you want to look at this?
Yeah.
You know, but now I think the mentality is totally different from that. Guys want to look at other stuff. Coaches, people training, all that. But before in the 90s, it wasn't like that at all. You know, a lot of guys discouraged that. If you're in my gym, why are you in my gym if you want to look at this? You know, that was kind of the mentality back then. So but there were some guys who, because they couldn't get in a gym, they were watching videos. That's how they would train with each other. They'd watch techniques. They'd work on them. Go back, watch some more, work on them, go back. That's how they train. And some of those guys are pretty effective, you know. Dean Thomas was one of them. Dean Thomas is a guy who, if you ever watch UFC broadcasts, he's on them from time to time.
Oh yeah, I know Dean.
And when he first started out, he was learning from himself. He had a couple of guys with him, but they would watch VHS, practice, watch VHS, practice, watch VHS, practice. And that's what they did. So it can be done.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, like I said, I'll hit you up in a little bit. And it's great talking to you, man. It's great meeting you. And until the next time.
Yeah, I'll stick around for the next interview in a couple hours, huh?
Yeah, 1 hour. Yep.
All right.
All right, take care, man.
Peace out, Todd. Thanks again.